Several days later, Rukongai. Shuhei Hisagi was a man of many hats. One of his occupations was Squad 9 Lieutenant. His other role was Editor-in-Chief of the Seirei Bulletin, a dispatch published by Squad 9 and circulated all over the Seirei, and even occasionally to certain parts of the Rukongai. After Kaname Tosen became captain, the bulletin adopted more modern printing methods from the world of the living, and it had quickly evolved. With Tosen no longer in the Soul Society, his lieutenant had taken over. Customarily, the new captain, Kensei Muguruma, should have become the next editor-in-chief, but Muguruma had left it to Hisagi.
Back in my time, I left everything to the squad soldiers. To be honest, it's not my thing.
So Hisagi had forged ahead with his new position.
So, what brings you all the way out here, Mr. Editor-in-Chief?
I'm covering a story, of course.
About what? Is this about the new statues? You got me, and I can tell you that those things aren't just for show.
She proudly turned her eyes to the stone flag bearers Hisagi had just passed under. The two gigantic statues were both of an oddly posed, gruff man. They stood side by side, holding aloft a banner that read, "Welcome to Kukaku Shiba's residence." Well, they're definitely a hot topic in some circles.
If you want, you can make them the cover of the next Seirei Bulletin.
Well, I'll mention that at our next planning meeting. Miss Kukaku, I came here to ask you for your help on the retrospective of the Great Ryo Protection War.
What? You're doing a retrospective already? But it hasn't even been half a year.
That's exactly why I want to collect accurate accounts right now. Although publication difficulties had forced the bulletin to go on hiatus, they had released a small run of special issues to spread the word that they would be launching a full revival now that the war was over. Hisagi had hoped to relaunch the bulletin on the anniversary of the end of the war. After the exciting relaunch announcement, his "Teach Me, Mr. Shuhei" column had received numerous reader requests for details about the Protection War. Motivated by eagerness, Hisagi spent his days chasing down interviews with the Surveillance Department, the Department of Research and Development, and the Special Relief Group from Squad 4. But he hadn't been able to gather that sort of material he had hoped for. He had no idea how many accounts he would need to collect before he was able to see the full scope of the war.
I know this isn't what you want to hear when you've got a glitter like that in your scary, intense eyes. But I don't really have much to tell you. All I did was launch Squad 0 in Ichigo.
Well, I just came by to get the ball rolling. I'll come back another time.
Coming back will just be a pain for you. And it's kind of weird for me to be commenting on Soul Reaper fights anyway. So, if you're going to talk to anyone, talk to my brother Ganju. He went with Ichigo and those guys to the Ryokyu. So I'm sure he's got something to say about it.
Huh? He went to Ryokyu? Come to think of it, I still haven't interviewed those close to Kurosaki. I see. I'll try talking to your brother first.
Right. Ganju's probably still hanging out in West Rukongai on that boar. If you have a look around, you'll probably find him. He's an obnoxious idiot, so you'll know who he is the moment you see him.
Yes, I saw him a few times during disturbances in the Seirei, so I should be able to recognize him. Hisagi gave Kukaku a bow and turned his back on the house and its attached fireworks launcher. But once he got close to where he left his ride, a motorcycle from the world of the living, he noticed several men had gathered around it.
What's a Kawasaki Z2 doing here?
Who knows?
Even we Fullbringers can only transfer that which is more or less part of our bodies, like our clothes or tools, and we manipulate the souls of objects. Perhaps someone loved their motorcycle so much it became an extension of their self.
What about gas?
Yes, the Soul Society doesn't really produce petroleum. Apparently, most fuels go to the Department of Research and Development, or to the aristocrats.
Does that mean this motorcycle is some aristocrat's toy?
I saved up to buy that thing. Although I guess you could call it a toy, since that's pretty much what it is.
Oh. When the sound of a rare motorcycle lured me over, I had no idea I was about to come face to face with a Soul Reaper.
Hisagi scowled when he saw the stranger's face, which matched a description that had recently circulated several times among the 13 court guard squads. The face of a Soul Reaper killer, Kugo Ginjo. Hisagi had never seen it for himself, but after Ichigo Kurosaki had killed him, the corpse of the outlaw Kugo Ginjo had remained for a time in the Soul Society. Although he had eventually been buried in the world of the living at Ichigo Kurasaki's request, his konpaku was another matter entirely. Kugo Ginjo.
Oh, what an honor. I can't believe someone with the lieutenant's armband recognized little old me.
I heard rumors that you hadn't gone to hell, but what are you doing here?
Nah, that's no way to look at a stranger, is it? Did I do something to you?
So you're playing dumb. I haven't forgotten what you did to us Soul Reapers or to Kurosaki.
And so what? You telling me to bow down and apologize? Listen, even though I'm in Ichigo Kurasaki's debt, I'm still not buddies with Soul Reapers, and I don't regret turning against you.
You bastard! What are you scheming?
Ha! Do I look like I'm scheming? And even if I was, what are you gonna do about it?
The tall man next to Ginjo closed the book he was holding and removed the bookmark from its pages.
Stand down, Tsukishima.
Are you sure? He looks like he might try to kill you. Tsukishima, aren't you the guy who screwed with Kurosaki's past? What a terrible thing to say. It wasn't his past I changed. Oh, I guess I did help with his sword that other time. Huh?
Mr. Ginjo, it seems he's not aware that you were one of Ichigo Kurasaki's reinforcements.
You were reinforcement? Wait, I think Renji mentioned something about an unexpected helping hand. I should have interviewed him first.
I wouldn't call us reinforcements. We were just returning a favor.
Why did you betray the Soul Reapers? Why did you betray Ukitake?
What a surprise. Why would a Soul Reaper ask me that now?
I heard that Captain Ukitake made your combat pass to keep an eye on you, and that was enough to make you decide that the entire court guard was your enemy. No one enjoys being spied on, but all you had to do was bring it up with Ukitake as soon as you discovered it.
I should have brought it up as soon as I discovered it. Ha, is that it? You don't seem like you're playing dumb, which means that even someone at the rank of lieutenant doesn't know what happened.
What are you talking about?
I'm saying I really get it now. You just don't know anything.
Ginjo started to fidget with a cross necklace hanging around his neck. Hisagi felt the reverberation of some sort of unpleasant spiritual pressure coming from it and took a step back, reaching for his zanpakuto. The air filled with the foreboding of a coming eruption, but the tension was suddenly shattered by a rumble and the braying of a beast. A gigantic boar the size of a small car came charging at them from the direction of a nearby village. It thrust itself between Hisagi and Ginjo, sending the man on his back plunging headfirst into the grass between them.
You're as enthusiastic as always, Bonnie.
As though ignoring him, the boar raced off like the wind to a different horizon.
Whoa, what's going on here? You having a fight?
It's nothing, Ganju. I was just riling up a Soul Reaper who's ignorant of how the world works.
You were fighting with a Soul Reaper? Seriously, I get that you hate them, but don't go around digging up trouble. I'm not gonna tell you to let bygones be bygones, but it ain't smart picking fights with them face to face.
Is that right? According to Madame Kukaku, your meeting with Mr. Kurosaki was like a child's squabble.
I can't believe my sister's been talking about that.
I don't know if this is good timing or what, but...
Who are you? Actually, aren't you lieutenant of squad whatever? Lieutenant, Hey, it's so great to see you again, Rukio's lieutenant buddy.
Come on, it's just one more syllable. It's Hisagi, from Squad 9, Shuhei Hisagi.
What? You know each other?
Hey, Ganju Shiba, what's going on here? Who are these guys, and do you and Miss Kukaku know them?
Of course we do. We don't just know them. They're freeloaders my sister picked up.
Freeloaders? Ginjo and the two others tried to take off, but Ganju quickly spotted them and halted them.
Hey, where do you think you're going? I don't know what happened between you and the lieutenant here, but I'm not gonna let there be grudges between the Soul Reapers and the Shiba gang while I'm alive. I won't assume anybody's in the wrong here. Just leave things up to old Ganju. The self-proclaimed deep red bullet of West Rukongai. The self-proclaimed but universally acknowledged boss of West Rukongai. Voted #1 for 14 consecutive years in a row. And the self-proclaimed former #1 Soul Reaper hater of West Rukongai, Ganju!
About that last bit, why are you still calling yourself that if it's former? This seems bad. I feel like I've been caught up in something that's gonna mean trouble. Several hours later, Seirei Squad 1 barracks.
This is definitely gonna mean trouble. A lot of it.
What is it, Head Captain?
Oh, sorry. Did I worry you? Why don't you leap into my arms and let me quell your frightened shivers?
I'm being serious, Head Captain.
Right. Well, just before you showed up, Lil Naira came to me with a few guards. They had a formal message and a request from Central 46.
You mean Naira Amakado came here directly?
The Central 46 was the acting voice of the Reo, and so led the Soul Reapers. Occasionally, they acted as the supreme judiciary body and meted out judgments. Naira Amakado was the youngest member of that body, a girl who appeared to be just 10 years old.
There was a pretty concerning incident with the 4 noble families earlier. I think you've heard about that?
Yes. You're referring to the assassins who snuck into the Suniyashiro household and murdered the head of the family?
The official public declaration was that the noble had fallen ill from distress during the battle and passed away due to an epidemic. Besides us, only Captain Soifon has knowledge of the true events. Well, Captain Kurotsuchi and Yoruichi have probably found out by their own methods. They probably even found out what happened next before I did.
Does that mean there's a problem with who will succeed the head of the family?
Lil Naira gave me some general details, but issues with the nobles are out of our jurisdiction. The Gilded Seal Aristocratic Assembly deals with that, not the 13 Court Guard squads, at least for the time being.
When you say it's theirs to deal with for the time being, do you mean the situation will involve the court guard later?
Well, it'd be nice if it didn't. Oh, and could you call Muguruma and Hisagi for me?
From Squad 9?
Hisagi alone will be just fine. But I'd like to make sure the captain knows what's going on, the situation being what it is.
At the same time, Kukaku Shiba's residence.
So that's just what I'm thinking, that suddenly the statues weren't appearing anymore. That jerk Ichigo pops up behind us out of nowhere. And he was like, sorry, I ended up going down first, so I came by to get you. Even though Chad and me were all revved up about clearing the path for Ichigo's way back. What's up with him already going back down on us every day, huh? You know what? That Chad guy was all like, Ichigo can only see the path he's on. But I sure never thought that'd literally be true, god damn it.
Uh-huh. Well, seems like you had a tough time. In the underground parlor of the Shiba residence, Ganju was complaining to Hisagi as he drank. Hisagi had tried to ask about the relationship between the Fullbringers and Ganju, and wound up in the plight of having to listen to Ganju's drunken complaints. Tsukishima wasn't taking part in the party, and was instead leaning up against a wall in a corner reading a book, while Giriko Kutsuzawa left to fix some snacks in the Shiba's kitchen.
And that Chad guy being Chad and all, the first thing he says in that whole mood is, I see, so it's over. And he had a smile on his face. He made me look like a shallow dingus with how I started off by just complaining.
Ganju was interrupted by a kick in the back that sent him to the floor face first.
Stop babbling like a baby. You haven't actually got any grit anyway.
But sis, that hurt and was cruel.
No buts, you punk. You trained yourself for years so you could battle on the front lines till the end. So how'd you end up getting lost?
Who told you I got lost? I must have been Ichigo, that little... Will you please stop it, sis? You're gonna pulverize my back into smithereens. Actually, what's up with Tsukishima and Ginjo getting past us to Ichigo? Isn't that kind of unfair? Hey, isn't that unfair?
Yukio and Ririka transported us there directly. We were crossing a pretty dangerous bridge too, you know.
Yukio and Ririka?
Yeah, they were a part of the group we hung out with in the world of the living. They're still alive, unlike us. But they still came all the way here just to help out Kurosaki.
They came here to help him.
Don't look so miserable while you're drinking. I told you earlier, didn't I? Ganju and I have accepted those freeloaders. We haven't got any concerns about them stabbing us in the back or anything.
But there!
We even ran it by Ukitake.
Huh?
Well, it's not like we can prove that now, though.
Wait a second. Then did Ginjo meet Ukitake too?
I didn't see him myself. To be honest, I was going out of my way not to see him here.
You're saying it's different now?
Who knows? Suppose we had met. It might have become a battle to the death.
Why are you so intense about him? You're right that I don't know anything. That's exactly why I want you to tell me. What did the Soul Reapers... What did we do to you, the first substitute Soul Reaper?
I see. So you at least have the qualities of a lieutenant. I'm grateful that you're taking it seriously. But no matter what I say, you're still going to treat me as dangerous, aren't you? How about you go and ask your head captain about it?
How's that fair? The head captain isn't one to lie, but I'm a journalist. I need to get everyone's side of the story to be impartial.
I never thought I'd hear a Soul Reaper call himself a journalist. Besides, it's not like all journalists are impartial.
I'm honoring the previous editor-in-chief's policy of putting fairness first.
You're a weird one. At first glance, you look just like a Soul Reaper through and through.
I'll take that last bit as a compliment.
So, if I tell you why I became a traitor and you don't buy it, what happens?
You already know. When that happens...
I'm not getting involved in a feud between the Freeloaders and the Soul Reapers, but if you're gonna fight, make sure you do it out front.
Got it.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not going to cause you any trouble.
So, as it turns out, I wasn't honest with Ichigo Kurosaki.
Huh? Oh, I kind of figured.
I had Tsukishima change my past, but in that past, there was a half-Soul Reaper human who tried to help remove the Fullbringer's hollow powers. In that timeline, Tsukishima killed the half-Soul Reaper and all of our friends. So if you want to know what happened in the original past, there was never a half-Soul Reaper like Kurosaki. I was the only substitute Soul Reaper. So in that case, who actually killed my friends?
Wait a second. Weren't they just part of the past that Tsukishima altered?
Tsukishima's ability, the Book of the End, can stick Tsukishima into other people's past. He can place memories and events relating to himself into other people's histories. But he can't just conjure up someone who never existed. So, the person we thought was a half-Soul Reaper was actually just one of the Soul Reapers I killed after I went into a rage.
It couldn't be.
Soul Reapers killed my friends from my actual past. I couldn't tell you what they looked like, though.
Wait, are you saying it was on Ukitake's orders?
Who knows? But that was when I figured out the secret of the combat pass. You get what happened next without me telling you, right?
All you had to do was bring it up with Ukitake as soon as you discovered it. I see. I can't believe that this is the whole truth, but... sorry about earlier.
Don't worry about it. It gave me a laugh. I meant to meet Ukitake that day in Ryokyu when I paid back my debt to Kurosaki. I wanted to know how much of it had been his orders. I didn't care that he hadn't trusted me from the start or that he tried to kill me, but I wanted to know why he'd killed my Fullbringer friends. It's all laughable now. I was prepared for the worst as I searched for Ukitake. I thought we'd die on each other's swords, but he couldn't even talk anymore.
That's...
I've said too much. I guess I let the alcohol get to me.
Wait a second. If that's true, then...
The ring of the soul pager in his pocket interrupted him in the middle of his sentence.
Sorry, I've been summoned by Squad 1.
What a coincidence. I wonder if the top brass is watching you too.
I might believe that if it were coming from Captain Kurotsuchi and not the head captain. But whether or not they're watching me, I'm going to finish my work. I can't just take your word on this. I'm a Soul Reaper too. I don't want to believe that my colleagues massacred people in the world of the living for no reason. I'll look into what's going on behind the scenes in the courtyard. Even though I'm a Soul Reaper, I'm still the Seirete Bulletin's editor-in-chief. You can trust me. Anyway, the conversation is still just beginning. And Ganju, I want to talk to you next. Next round's on me.
Hisagi bowed to Kukaku and left the Shiba residence. As the sound of the motorbike engine echoed off into the distance, Tsukishima turned his eyes back to his book and spoke. How unusual. I wouldn't have expected you to bring that up to a Soul Reaper yourself, Ginjo.
Yeah, guess I'm losing my edge. Well, he seems like an honest Soul Reaper. Like he's really meant to be in the court guard. I didn't know if he'd listen to what I had to say, but, well, maybe I just wanted someone to listen to me in Ukitaki's place, since the guy kicked the bucket.
Oh, I just finished making snacks. Did the Soul Reaper go home already?
Yeah, looks like he's the punctual type. He was in a hurry.
I see. How exceptional. The flow of time is an absolute law, whether we are in the world of the living, the Rukongai, or the Seirete. Even gods of death like the Soul Reapers follow it naturally.
Hey sis, what did you actually think of that?
How should I know? I told you, didn't I? This isn't the time for us to butt in when we're not Soul Reapers.
I wonder if our brother knew anything about it.
Kaien Shiba had been Ukitake's adjutant before the fall of the Shiba household.
Who knows? Soul Reapers always look outward in order to protect the Seirete. They might just be dense when it comes to villains the Seirete creates itself. Look at that Aizen idiot.
Half an hour later, Squad 1 command room.
Yo, you're late, Shuhei. How far out did you go?
Sorry, Captain. I went to get an interview with Miss Kukaku Shiba in West Rukongai.
Ah, you two are here. Sorry for calling you in while you're busy.
So, what's up, Shunsui? Did you have a particular reason for bringing in just the two of us from Squad 9?
Well, I suppose. It's just something that relates to the Seirete Bulletin.
Huh? Then why do you need me?
So, about that. The higher-ups have something they want announced directly in the bulletin. I thought I'd at least tell you about it, since you're the captain.
They want something announced? By higher-ups? Do you mean Squad 0?
No, the Central 46, or the aristocrats behind the scenes, to be exact. Actually, the head of one of the 4 great noble clans is changing. It's already been brought up with the government, and he's formally the head now. But he's demanding the news of his installment be broadcast extensively across the Soul Society.
What? So it's just the aristocracy being pig-headed as usual?
Huh? How much of a page will it take up? We weren't planning on publishing the first issue until next month, and we're starting with a special Great Radio Protection War retrospective, so it'll have to balance with that.
Apparently, they want you to publish a special edition. And they want you to distribute it out all the way to the Rukongai.
A special edition? Even if I can get the whole publishing system up and running right now, we really don't have that kind of budget.
Don't worry. The noble family said they would take on all expenses.
Really?
And about that new head of house.
Huh? Is something wrong, head captain?
If I told you it was Tokunada Tsuneyashiro, you'd recognize that name, wouldn't you?
Tokunada Tsuneyashiro.
Every vessel in Hisagi's body pulsed intensely. In order to bring Kaname Tosen back from the wrong path he had wandered down, Hisagi had tried to learn more about him. Details of the murder of Tosen's closest friend had been appalling, particularly the fact that the husband hadn't been imprisoned or properly punished and was now living his life unencumbered.
Wait a second. Wasn't he a member of the furthest branch of the family?
He's risen in the world. Aizen slaughtered the Central 46, and we were in a mess after the war. And then, the head of the Tsuneyashiro family and those closest to him were assassinated one after the other last week.
Captain.
I won't conjecture, but Tokunada Tsuneyashiro single-handedly killed all the assassins and was promoted from the branch family in light of his accomplishment. In other words, there conveniently isn't anyone else in the main family now. I know the guy. I think you know this already, but he's the type to do that without batting an eye. I'm not a saint. There's people who even rub me the wrong way. So, you see that I need to confer with you about Tokunada Tsuneyashiro's instructions to release a special edition celebrating his installment. Hisagi, can you do it?